Hello, my name is Emily, and I will be talking about my personality assessment and managing generation. My personality assessment scores gave me the result of ISFJ. This means I keep to myself while keeping an eye on my environment. In my workplace, my boss has mentioned that I was very reserved when I started out, but since then I have come out of my shell. I will elaborate more on this in the next slide. Being observant has helped me with picking up the job duties quickly. I try to be friendly, but sometimes it is not received by the consumers, as I tend to have a stoic listening phase. I need schedule and structure to help me guide in getting my work done in a timely manner. I agree with the assessment for the most part, but there are a couple of answers where I resonated with both. My personality assessment result has the SF combination of letters, which is perceived as degrading. These traits work together to create a solid ground for operations in a cohesive manner. Gardens are stable, consistent, and dependable. I was born in 1995, which means I am a part of Generation Z. Our generation values mental health and work/life balance. We dress smart casual, though I feel this kind of applies to how I present my work as well, in the sense that I take information at an elevated level and simplify it, and carry it through casual conversation, creating more room for comprehension and comfort in my office. As mentioned before, I do my best work with a schedule, but I also need flexibility if the deadline is missed. Now that I've touched base on my personality assessment results and generation, I'm going to review workplace type personalities and how they interact with mine. I'm going to be looking at two. First is my administrative assistant. She is also Generation Z, and I came more out of my shell when she started, because we had a lot more common ground than I did with my other coworkers who are millennials and Generation X. The assistant's bubbly personality made me feel comfortable engaging in conversations. She portrays an open mind, and when discussing ideas, we're able to work together and believe that they will be accomplished. I see the NF combination as an idealist, and her shine through in this light. An example of this would be bringing back Step Awareness Day at Disneyland after a 10+ year hiatus. We have a similar approach and viewpoint to our workflow as we're from the same generation. We also have similar conflicts with the regional director due to this as well. We value spending our lunchtime together and celebrate good days and rant about the bad ones. My regional director, ironically, she has the same personality assessment result as I do, which is ISFJ. I think the generation factor affects how it is expressed. I mentioned reclusive because she spends her lunch breaks alone in her office with the door closed, and she talks often about feeling satisfied alone. When we approach her with new ideas, she tends to reject them at first, so we've learned to get the wheels in motion before approaching her with a proposition. Now, she has worked for the organization for almost 20 years. While this is honorable, I can see it has shifted her drive to be satisfied by what's good enough. She valued all of her workers and centers her hiring process on making sure new employees will harmonize with the rest of us. Like me, she needs deadlines to be met and does not like things done at the last minute, which is an area where I see her and the administrative assistant butting heads. My core organization has 5 of us working at the office. We are Generation X, Millennials, and Generation Z. I'm going to talk about the similarities and differences between the three. So Generation X dresses business casual, dress pants, dress shirt, hair done up, nice flat shoes. Millennials want to be comfortable, jeans and a nice shirt with sneakers. Gen Z dresses smart casual, so jeans or leggings with a nice top, nice sneakers or boots. Now, Gen X is more goal-oriented. They focus on what needs to be done and how, while millennials and Gen Z look for purposeful value in the work they do, such as fundraising through community events. For motivated, Generation X looks for security. Millennials seek to maintain their personal life, and Gen Z prefers a work-life balance. All generations prefer a hybrid environment, which my organization luckily has. Though the Gen Z, I could argue for more work-from-home days. While compiling everything together, I found a few things interesting. First, I was surprised to find similar traits between Generation Z and Generation X. I was under the impression it would be much different because of the contrast between the two in my work environment, which leads to my next point. Applying the concepts from this assignment to my workplace was a fun way to assess the office dynamic. Last, it made me think about intersectionality and the personality assessment. While my results were ISFJ, I wonder if factoring in my bicultural and bilingual identity would present a different outcome. Here's what I mean. Each language and culture brings out different aspects in my personality. For example, I'm more likely to strike up a conversation with someone who uses American Sign Language versus of using spoken English because I'll understand them better. This means I'm likely to be more extroverted in a deaf environment. Moving on, our organization has 5 full-time staff in-house, not including our sister agencies. Our director is Generation X. One staff is an older millennial and has been working there for about 10 years, give or take. Another staff is a younger millennial and has 2 years under her belt. And then there's me and the administrative assistant at Generation Z. I've noticed a divide between our director and the older millennial as one group, me and the administrative assistant as one group, and then the younger millennial kind of a floater between the two. With this in mind, there are challenges to expect to managing several generations in my nonprofit organization. So some of the challenges are, while we share similar traits, our workplace approaches are different, and that affects the dynamics sometimes negatively. It's important to take a step back and see what is causing the clash between all of us. When we have ideas that are generating new concepts that are coming alive, it is very easy to shut them down by saying, we've been there, we've done that. So keeping an open mind will foster a sense of safety for sharing ideas and receiving feedback. In my office, the communication flow is divided by the older group and the younger group. So a lot of information gets lost in translation between the two groups. For example, if an issue comes up with scheduling, I may talk about it directly with the administrative assistant. But if it comes up later in a conversation with my boss, she may ask me why she wasn't informed. This same thing happens the other way around. My boss will have conversations with the older group and the message doesn't get passed on to the younger group. Here are 3 areas where I would apply the concept learned from this assignment. So the first one is to listen to understand, not respond. And I say this because I've noticed with the older generation employees, they tend to interrupt before the younger generation is finished talking or prior to reaching their point. So despite the differences across generations for their intention to work, it is important to maintain an open mind while having discussions related to the work we're doing. Next, I would propose a modernized approach because some of our organizational practices may be outdated and causing more harm than good. For example, the yearly evaluations has a section for a scale of 1 through 5 that rates the appearance of or attire in the workplace of the employee. Someone who is in Generation Z would rate my attire as a 3, versus someone who is in Generation X may give me a 5. that the scale gives a circumstantial, case by case, depending on who you ask, and is not solidified or justified based on the outdated approach towards the workplace. Last but not least, each generation may have different reasons for going to work. Maintaining unity in the workplace by keeping the organization mission in mind will help with the workflow and communication. Thank you for taking the time to listen, and let me know if you have any questions or comments.